Hey folks, welcome to Microsoft Build 2026 in beautiful San Francisco or online. And welcome to modern cross-platform .NET development with AI and visual tools, all powered by Uno Platform. Now, I am Basu, one of the developer advocates at Uno Platform, and we are delighted to be here at Build and connecting with you all. But first up, let me show you what we can do for you, the developer. So modern .NET is great until you realize you have to take your .NET apps to all the places, and that's where you need a foundational platform and some tooling to keep you productive. That's exactly where Uno Platform comes in. It's a flexible open source stack for you to build modern cross-platform .NET apps. From a single shared code base of C# and XAML, I get to build an app that runs everywhere, iOS or Android for mobile, web browsers through WebAssembly, and Windows, macOS, Linux for desktop and embedded systems. I have my choice of UI rendering stack. I have themes and extensions and toolkits and lots of UI to help me build my .NET app. Now, we do think about the entire life cycle of you building your cross-platform .NET app. You can start from any OS and any IDE like Visual Studio or VS Code. Setup is super simple, and I have lots of tools and utilities to build my applications efficiently. And then I have lots of guidance to be able to run and deploy my apps to any platform and any device. Now, on top of this foundational base, we have built up Uno Platform Studio. This is a collection of AI and design tools meant to supercharge your productivity. I have Hot Design, which is a runtime visual designer for cross-platform .NET apps. So while my app is running, I have a design canvas to be able to tweak my UI. I have a custom AI agent to be able to build me some UI. And with Hot Reload, everything stays in sync between my running app, my design surface, and my code in my IDE. Now, if you're a modern developer like me, you're probably using agentic workflows between your terminal or your IDE. Let us bring the context that AI desperately needs. And we do that through MCP tools, Model Context Protocol, which provides the grounding through our documentation and also gives you a way to be able to validate the UI that AI is generating for you. Now, having said all that, you don't need to take my word for it. We have plenty of examples of enterprise success stories. With us here at Build is our partner Kahua. This is a fantastic example of cross-platform .NET apps built with Uno Platform, but deployed to an enterprise scale with lots of mission-critical apps. Kahua is using Uno Platform's AI and design tools to build modern .NET apps, and also including AI in the user experience. So overall, a great story of how to modernize a .NET code base and deploy it cross-platform with lots of AI and design help. So enough of the talking. Let's actually see some things in action with Uno Platform. All right, so I am here on my desktop, and if you're new to this, the best place to start is often platform.uno. That's our website that tells you all about what we do. From here on, you can get into the docs. This is great for getting situated, getting started. And if you look at the setup guide here, we are fairly agnostic. So you can do this from any OS, any IDE, or any command line, any agentic workflow of your choice. If you pick an IDE, sometimes like Visual Studio, there is a Uno Platform extension that's there to make your life a little bit easier. So let's actually look at the dev experience. I'm going to hop into my Windows machine here, and let's pull up Visual Studio. Now, if you are doing this for the first time, there's a terminal command tool called Uno Check that's going to install all the dependencies and SDKs, so you can be up and running. I have the extension installed, so this is saying, hey, do you want to create a new app? Let's just call it test, and I'm going to hit create here. So next up, what you see here is a quick little wizard. This essentially steps you through all the things that you may want to add in your cross-platform .NET app. So what's your app runtime? What are all the platforms you want to target? iOS, Android, WebAssembly, and desktops. What's your presentation layer? What's your markup of choice? What theme do you want in your app? What are some extensions? What are some app features? All the way down to CI/CD pipelines. So you can tweak this and you can change things up later on. I'm just going to accept the defaults here and hit create. And at this point, essentially, it's scaffolding a cross-platform .NET project that is all Uno Platform. And it's, again, meant to be cross-platform from the get-go. So Visual Studio is loading things up, and it's trying to read the CS proj. Let's cancel out of a couple of things and close things down so we can actually run this thing. Now, this is a true cross-platform project, so there is a lot going on here, but it's all through a single shared code base. So all of these platforms, these are essentially just folders. So in case I wanted to do any platform-specific things, I could. So before even looking at anything else, here is all the places where my app can run. Let's just run this really quickly on desktop. And again, this is a fresh build, so it's going to pull down all of my NuGet dependencies and hopefully do a quick build. Again, you can run this on iOS, Android, WebAssembly, and all of the desktop solutions. This is, Visual Studio just pulling it up for the first time and trying to give me a cross-platform app that I can run on all of the places. So we'll give Visual Studio here just a second to load it up. But in the meantime, why don't we keep going over here to, oh, actually, there's the app before I was switching over. So this is, again, a super simple app, and it's trying to show you some things about hot design, which we'll step into in just a second. So I'm going to exit out of that. But that's your app, and it's got hot reload and hot design wired up from the get-go. This is, again, a super simple app. It just has an empty shell, so I can go navigate between page 1 and page 2. So it's pretty simple how you get started in Visual Studio. Now, let me actually come back over here to the Mac side and show you what the experience looks like in Visual Studio Code with a slightly more advanced app. This is an app called Uno Chefs. It's actually, one of our showcase apps in our sample gallery. Everything is open source here, so you can look at it. So this is VS Code, and I have it open here. You can notice here I'm deploying it to my desktop in this case, but I can also do iOS, Android, or WebAssembly. So let's go ahead and run this really quick. It's a slightly more complicated app. It's a showcase app meant to show you different types of recipes. So it's doing a quick build here, and out comes the Uno Chefs app. Now it's running on desktop. I'm going to skip past a couple of things. So this is an app. And again, up front, you can see that I have the same hot reload and hot design wired up, so I'm good to go. So what I can do is, get into hot design. This is my runtime visual designer while my app is still running. So in this mode, I have a couple of things. I can have a custom AI agent. So here is an agent, and I can ask it to tweak my UI or build up some new UI, again, while my app is running. I can go into design mode, in which case I can truly tweak all of my app UI design. I have a canvas here. I have a toolbox with all the UI that I can drag and drop. I can have a nice, visual design tree of, all of the UI elements. And I can, really drill down into which parts of the UI I want to change. Notice how it's, keeping track of my visual tree. I can, drill down further. This looks like a feed view. I can get into the value template, and I can drill down even further into the actual item template. So this is data binding. And just to showcase that this is real data that we are showing you, nothing fake. So there is no design time or runtime. It's all together. And at any point, like if I'm done, I can just hit the hot design button and I'm out of my design mode, but my app is still running, which is really nice. And then I can go back into hot design. And let's just say you are building an app where you're trying to tweak something, several layers down. So I can go into interactive mode, and now I can use the app exactly how my users would. So I can, tap on a single thing here. I can navigate around. Let's go into nutrition here. And let's just say I want to change this thing really quick here. So from this page, I can now go back into design. I can highlight that exact thing I want to change. And that looks like a chart view. And all of the properties of the UI show up here on the right-hand side. These are some brushes that we are using to paint the colors. So what if I wanted to actually change things up here to, let's just say, aqua? So you can see immediately it picks up, and it's changed the color here. And if I can go back to the design, the app is still running. Everything is interactive. And if I actually go all the way back and close out the app here entirely and come back to my recipe details page, this was one of the changes that we made. We changed the brush, and you can see the protein brush is now aqua, which is exactly what we changed. So that's hot design and hot reload working together to give you a nice experience between your IDE, which has your code, and your running app with a design canvas. So again, that's just a quick look at hot design with hot reload. All right, now let's switch things up to looking at a different way of building with Uno platform. And now it's with AI. So I'm going to change up the project that I'm on and just open up a different app that I've been working on. And this one here is going to be an enterprise dashboard, because it's very common for developers to be asked to build like a Salesforce or an ERP type system with a nice dashboard. So that's what this is. It is still an Uno platform app, so you can see it runs in all the places. I'm going to choose desktop as the quickest way to run it. However, this one here is different because I did not hand code all of the UI, because I have AI agents who can do much of the work for me. So I am going to switch up here to GitHub Copilot in my AI chat. But keep in mind, I can do this from Visual Studio, VS Code. I have GitHub Copilot right there, but I also have Claude Code. I can also do the same thing with Codex or Gemini or Cursor, any of those AI agents. It's all the same. So here is GitHub Copilot, and in here I can use any model if I want, any agent or plan mode if I want. But if I look at the configurations here that the AI agent harness is reading, it's all driven by an mcp.json file. And you're going to notice a couple of things in here. Because we noticed that it's a Uno platform project, we have wired up a few things for you already. These are two MCP servers that we offer right out of the box. So the first one is an Uno MCP. And what this one does is it brings the context of all of our latest docs to the AI agent. So the AI agent can search through our documentation. It can fetch multiple pages. It can summarize, and it can initialize itself with the best practices for building Uno platform apps. So again, the agent is kind of falling into a bit of success here. And then we have Uno App MCP. This is what we like saying gives the AI agents like eyes and hands, so that the agent is not guessing anymore. The UI that you build should be able to validate it by the agent itself. So this is where the agent can actually take a screenshot of your app. You may have heard of Playwright. This is Playwright for cross-platform .NET apps. So the agent can click on things in your app. It can look at the visual tree structure. It looks at the PR default action. It can paste text. It can, take a screenshot or, do a key press. So all of those things that a human tester can do, now the AI agent can do as well. So with those two MCP tools in action, you're going to find that you have a lot more confidence in whichever AI agent that you use. So I have those two things wired up. And this was an app where someone had a very nice design of a dashboard. So that's where I started. If you are working with design systems, you could bring things over from, let's say Figma or Pencil. We can bring things over and have our MCPs talk to those MCPs. Or you can just start with a screenshot. And again, with the MCP tools, we can pretty much make sure that the UI looks and behaves exactly the way you want it to. So this is me essentially running this through an AI agent and building up an app. So let me actually start up a fresh chat here. Because I have those MCPs wired up, I could do simple things like launch the app on desktop and tell me the total lead count. So number of leads that I have maybe from an ERP system here. I happen to know that this is a sales dashboard. So essentially we are asking the agent to go figure out what it's going to be. It's a .NET project, so it's probably going to read the CS proj, and then it's going to start figuring out that I need to do a build, and how do I launch the app, and then how do I interact with the app. So it's going to get to work, and it's going to try to see how I do this. I have approved this on a couple of places in the workspace, so it's not asking me for before every tool invocation. Build is green, so now you can see it's launching the Uno app server, and here comes the app. The app is running. I'm taking a visual tree snapshot so I can read the total lead count here. So again, it's getting to work. It's doing the visual things. And here you can see it's trying to get a visual snapshot here. I'm going to approve this on the workspace, or you can approve this for all things. But essentially, it got a snapshot, and it's trying to read a whole bunch of things. But while it does that, let me actually pull up the app here. So this is, again, a cross-platform app, and it's a sales dashboard in here as well. Even though AI built it, I still have my hot reload and hot design in here and wired up. So I can change up the design as I go. If I don't like something, I can tweak as I go. This one here is a pretty nice, sales, dashboard, all with fake data, but you can get the idea. And this, in fact, happens to be like a responsive app as well. So this is running on desktop. I can run it on web. But as I shrink the app, UI interface area, you can now see it becomes responsive, kind of more suitable for a mobile form factor here. So again, beautiful app UI built entirely with AI agents, again, with the grounding. And eventually you can see like the agent comes back and says, hey, 2847 is your total lead count, which is accurate. So you can see like this is the kind of thing you can pull off when you have MCPs working for you. So everything that I do is grounded in docs. So again, to that point, let me do another, agentic interaction here. So if I say, tell me about MVUX design pattern in Uno platform apps, right? So MVVM is a design pattern that works very commonly with C# and XAML code bases, but we can also do MVU with an extended MVUX pattern. So shorter dev loop, kind of a cleaner way of doing things. And again, it's going to do these documentation search and fetches over and over again, trying to figure out how exactly should you be doing this. So again, you, the developer, never needs to leave the IDE. So I should bypass all approvals. I'll enable that. I might still need to do this one at a time, but you get the idea. You can be in YOLO mode where you allow all the things. So again, for a simple search, it has to fetch like 3 different pages, and then it's trying to summarize to figure out how exactly does one do MVUX design pattern with C# and XAML for Uno platform apps. So again, it's finding all the context, more doc searches, and this is the benefit. You, the developer, never needs to leave the IDE. It's all right there. And it's trying to give me back a summary of exactly what it's going to take for me to do MVUX. Here's the core idea. Here's why we recommend it. Here are the building blocks. Here's the state management, MVUX and MVVM. Just a little bit of a rundown. So all of this is power to you, the developer, to never leave the IDE or your terminal access. And I can do this if I close down this app. I can do the exact same thing from Claude Code or any other terminal-based agentic workflow. So if I go in and do Copilot here in my terminal, you're going to see GitHub Copilot come up here, and I'm going to hit yes. And in here, you will also notice that already it has loaded up a couple of skills and some MCP servers. If I look at 𝗦𝗽𝗲𝗀𝗀𝗁 MCP, those are exactly the same MCP tools that I showed you from Visual Studio or VS Code. So it's all the same. Your AI agents are always grounded in factual docs, no hallucinations. And what we are trying to offer is more context, so the AI agents can test app interactive features while your app is running, so you can validate the UI. So if you needed proof that all of this really, really works and makes you super productive, let me go back to my browser here. So this was Uno platform website. If I head down here into resources, we have a whole AI gallery. These are amazing UI, apps with incredible interactive and beautiful UX that we have built up. Any of these apps and any of this UI will take us weeks and weeks of coding to do this by hand, like a Matrix Digital Rain or like a Winamp Classic Player. All of this is done with AI, because if you give it the right specs, if you give it the right requirements document, and you can also test out the UI with the help of MCPs, the world is your oyster. You can build a lot with AI agents being kind of your sidekick to generate a lot of code and then being able to validate what you're doing. So take a look at this AI gallery. Hopefully this is a lot of inspiration for you folks to start building amazing apps. All right, so that's it in terms of just a quick look at our AI and design tools with Uno platform. Let me head back to where we had started. So hopefully you see some of these things that I'm promising you, but nothing beats playing with it yourself. All right, so coming back to Microsoft Build here, this is an open invitation for you all to come and join us. So like I said, we have a big presence here. And if you look at the Microsoft Build session catalog, do a search for .NET or Enterprise.NET. We have a session, and we are here with our partners, Kahua. You're going to see us and Kahua on stage live. We're going to show you a lot more of what I just showed you here as a preview. And we might just have a very big announcement and a surprise waiting on the cards here. So if you wanted to build .NET fast with AI and visual tools, come and join us for the theater session. And then anywhere in the expo area, look for us. We're going to have a booth. So come and talk to us about the latest tech and all things AI. And while you're at it, might as well grab some cool swag. So come and join us and connect. Let's connect here at Microsoft Build. That's it from me. Hopefully this was a whirlwind tour of all that Uno platform can do. So the bottom line is modern cross-platform .NET with AI and visual tools to aid your productivity. So start today at platform.uno. We can't wait to see what you built, and thanks for joining us here at Microsoft Build. Bye.